What's good, y'all? It's your boy Blak G 92. Now, for this evening, but more so, go ahead and continue with the last 7 minutes of the video I started a couple of days ago, titled "When Mermaid Characters Unintentionally Represent Autism." And like I said in the last video, it's very interesting thus far. And now we're in a segment where Bob speaks on how Ariel may represent those on the spectrum, and it kind of caught my interest, and looking forward to seeing what he has to say about said representation and such in about 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
But her two closest friends are Flounder and Scuttle.
Let me go ahead and rewind it a little bit so I can kind of get a good starting point.
Her own age, or species, and is obviously very lonely where she is, with this hobby providing some form of comfort.
A bandit, bulbous, Narflack.
This next trait isn't one I relate to specifically, but her two closest friends are Flounder and Scuttle, and she bonds very quickly with Max.
Flounder, you really are a guppy.
It's quite common for autistic children to bond more with animals than humans, although not me personally.
You can't speak?
Well,
once she's on
we all
land,
have our
she's
quirks.
nonverbal and struggles to communicate her true feelings.
And when I hear the story of a child who's never spoken before, whether it's on the spectrum of autism or Asperger's or whatever it may be.
Her actress, Jodie Benson, has spoken about many autistic children who told her they could relate to this part especially.
And when your voice was taken and it was given back and the connection.
Hold on, let me rewind it real quick. I don't know why, but it kind of...
Bond more with animals than humans, although not me personally.
You can't speak?
Once she's on land, she's nonverbal and struggles to communicate her true feelings.
And when I hear the story of a child who's never spoken before, whether it's on the spectrum of autism or Asperger's or whatever it may be.
Her actress, Jodie Benson, has spoken about many autistic children who told her they could relate to this part especially.
And when your voice was taken and it was given back and the connection that they make.
Like Madison, she also embarrasses herself by not knowing the right social cue.
That's
And
such
again,
a funny
it's
scene
not
right
used
there.
to show her as odd or stupid, just unfamiliar with the culture of her surroundings.
Oh yeah.
It is rather tiny.
The damn commercials. Hate when it does that. If I'm getting good, they want to come in the damn commercial.
Oh, Ariel, boy do I feel you on this one.
Yeah.
A world that makes such wonderful things could be bad.
Ariel is also defined by her open-mindedness compared to her father.
You rescued a human from drowning?
It's another lesser discussed trait among autistic people that we often have very strong morals and a strong sense of justice.
Everyone knows that.
He would have died.
Ariel risks her father's wrath to save the life of a human she doesn't know, and outright challenges his prejudice towards humans when she's found out.
Unless human to worry about.
You don't even know him.
Her way of thinking appears to be unusual in universe, and it leaves her open to emotional abuse and manipulation by those who seek to control her or use her, which I won't go into detail on, but let me just say, I relate. The mermaid to human transformation is a bit trickier to interpret through this lens, but you could choose to see it as more symbolic than literal. Since Ariel is uncomfortable being a mermaid at the start, you could suggest that her mermaid identity represents masking. While it appears that as a mermaid she's freer and more adventurous, it's still not enough to make her feel whole. Just like how masking and successfully passing for neurotypical has plenty of benefits, but constantly having to hide your identity and micromanage every single movement or action just for a more comfortable life does eat away at you after a while. Since Ariel's personality doesn't change after she becomes human, and she's seen as somewhat eccentric by them too, I can see this as symbolic of getting the freedom to be yourself and not having to mask anymore. And once Ariel lets her quirky, energetic side fly free, that's when she attracts Eric.
Far better than any dream girl is one of flesh and blood. One warm and caring and right before your eye.
Ariel and Madison make for a nice companion pair, since both were mermaid characters in the 80s, and their films were released by Disney. But there is a third pop culture mermaid I feel I have to discuss.
Oh, the third one.
This out. Whoa!
I'm not a fan of the term guilty pleasure, because I don't believe anyone should feel guilty for loving pieces of media that are...
Really? I mean, I think there's a reason there's a thing called guilty pleasure. I mean, if it's not whether it's not written well or effects look like trash, then the term fits. I mean, I have my fair share of guilty pleasures. I mean, I'm not ashamed of that term either, and it's there for a reason. But hey, everyone has their own interpretations. What it defines as good, bad, or guilty pleasure. So, hey, it's whatever.
By the mainstream, and any value found in a work should be validated. That being said, guilty pleasure is something I often use to describe my enjoyment of this film. Even so, no one can feel guilty for falling in love with Sarah Paxton's brilliant performance.
Why go through life unnoticed?
We have another mermaid that has to be taught how to act like a normal human. And the most basic of social interactions is essentially one big performance from her.
Wow, Raymond, you're good. Bye.
There are things she does that seem odd or unusual to others, but they provide her with comfort in unfamiliar situations.
Is that good?
Yes, it's very calming.
And attempting to imitate behavior she sees in others often just leads to embarrassment. Boy, do I relate to this bad dancing scene. Sarah Paxton, you are a gift.
I told you I was bad.
Outside of this, Aquamarine is quite an extrovert, and very knowledgeable about other specific things, in this case mermaid stuff, and she can act as a guide and mentor for that, teaching as much as she learns.
Starfish may be big suck-ups,
But they never lie.
Pop culture likes to think of autistics only as introverts, using the shrinking violet trope, but some of us can be extroverts too.
That was fantastic! Let's do it again.
Aquamarine's energy and passion for the simple things is very reminiscent of several people I know. And yes, at that age, we can be thirsty AF too.
Do you love me?
Oh, of course.
Another lesser shown trait is how Aqua is clearly older, Sarah Paxton was 18, and becomes best friends with two 12-year-olds.
Can't we do something? Yeah, anything! What more could you do for me?
It's actually rather common for some autistics to end up clicking more with friends with a significant age difference, usually bonding over their specific shared interests. We're also more likely to make friends with social outcasts, like Aqua does with Claire and Haley, and later the pool's Boo Radley figure Leonard.
You're probably the first person who's talked to me all summer.
And it's admittedly very sweet how the movie goes ahead and shows this friendship as a deep and loving one, not using the age difference to demonize anyone.
Aqua. I love you.
Yeah, that's always a relief seeing that in media. Because oftentimes in films like that, assuming it's probably one of those romantic teen comedies, whatever, like they often demonize the character being cool with someone that's younger than them. They seem like a major plot point, whatever, when it's no different than, say, being, well, aside from obviously the age differences, the only difference being the age is like, it's no different than, say, being friends with someone your own age, per se. You know what I mean? Some people just click with who they click with, you know what I mean? It's not always something negative. There's not always something negative, so. I don't know my 2 cents before I continue, but I do like his point he brought up, though, later on. Not later on, but earlier on. So, it's definitely a relief to see. But I might add this movie to the watch list, even though he said it was a guilty pleasure. And based on the clips, this doesn't look like a well-made film, but has, based on how you described it, has some charm to it.
Too.
And that's the key word to keep in mind when examining these mermaid characters.
Can you decipher that, you fragile narcissist?
Representation for autistic people is still pretty slim. For females on the condition, even more so.
Oh yeah.
The 2010s did see a small emergence of more autistic girls being shown in the media, but obviously these 3 films were made long before that. But the kind of representation that we usually have to deal with is the victim narrative, showing how hard it is and how it's near impossible to live a normal life, or even what a burden we are to our caregivers.
How do you know how to calm her down?
One of the reasons I loved the portrayal of Billy in Power Rangers 2017 is that his condition was pretty incidental, and he actually gets to be a hero and badass.
What?
I told you we were superheroes.
We're not all just our condition, and it's nice to see narratives reflecting that, however accidentally.
You're not like most girls around here.
And going back to these mermaid characters, all 3 are defined by how different they are to regular people. And if you know your mermaid mythology, you know that they've historically been portrayed as evil and dangerous, or else a pet you can bang without shame. Kind of like how people with mental illness or physical disabilities were demonized or used as an attraction for the public to laugh at. But none of these mermaids have to trade in their personalities or change themselves in any significant way. Ariel does not change her mind or behavior, remember? All three mermaids have their personalities validated by the narrative and those around them.
Children got to be free to lead their own lives.
In each movie, their eccentric behavior still attracts friends and admirers, showing them to be just as worthy of love and friendship as anyone else.
Because we love you, Aqua. We do.
And perhaps the writers who are actually trying to create more representation beyond the token or stereotypes could take a look at Madison, Ariel, or Aqua and take notes on.
Well, yeah, but as you see, 3 years after this video was uploaded, not much has really changed, you know. Well, I'm sure there's been some smaller changes, and I might have to check out the 2017 Power Rangers film. I might check it out just for that reason, bring up one of the characters being on the spectrum and how it showed them as a person instead of someone as this that with all the showing them as basically that's a person that's on the spectrum, and that defines characters and how to be a badass, which definitely lifts my spirits up. So I might watch it sometime in the future, see how it's executed myself. I'm going to finish watching this.
These characters are so beloved.
Who needs Raymond? I found 2 new men to love. Their names are Ben and Jerry.
Ben and Jerry.
Until then, you can probably reach me in the pool.
I didn't know you leak when you're happy, too.
Alrighty. Like I said before, and like I suspected, it's a very well-made documentary. Not well-made, yeah, well-made, like mini documentary. And also, I forgot to mention as well, about, like, say, oh yeah, the point I was trying, what I also forgot to mention early on before I paused it and finished watching it was, with Hollywood as it is now, I don't trust them to get autism represented right on screen. Like I said, you mentioned a few great examples and ones that unintentionally represented, but as far as Hollywood today, I don't trust it at all, because they're more focused on putting doing so for, hey, look at us representing this group of people and that they're marginalized and such, and that's the only thing that's defining the character is that, instead of being a complete three-dimensional character, you know. So I don't trust Hollywood at all with handling not just with autism but other like groups, you know, that haven't got the same sort of representation. I don't trust Hollywood at all, especially nowadays. See, yeah, oh, someone posted. Oh, so that's why I'm so obsessed with H2O mermaids when I was a kid, and mermaids in general. Yeah, man, I figure it's a good way to wrap up Autism Awareness Month and this 2-part video. And I'd like to also say, for those that enjoy this type of content, whether it's like, say, mini documentary, video essay, what was it, countdowns, trailers, movie clips, or whatever the case may be, songs. Did I say music videos? I did say music videos. And I did say interviews, and also like TV, movie, trailers. Let me know in the comment section below. And also, if it's your first time watching my video, my content, let me post it. Be sure to hit that like button, hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button as well. And also follow me on my social media accounts, which will be posted in the description box below. And be sure to be on the lookout for more content on the way. And yep. And not to mention, hopefully next month will be a lot more productive. I know I haven't been as active like I normally would, so this kind of be more so me just kind of go off the cuff like I normally, instead of just ending it off right there. Just haven't been as active because I've just been so worn out, like as far as work. And also, I mentioned in the last video that little situation I mentioned that's kind of been bothering me like the past day or two. And of course, like I said, aside from me, like I said, I've just been tired, just haven't been up to this, up doing more content for y'all. But this month is gonna be a lot more content on the way, whether it's maybe a mini documentary of my own about strength and loyalty and the unreleased songs for that. Man, I wish I had a live stream so I could just ramble on here all day. Matter of fact, I might see if I could do so tonight. This your boy Blak G92 about to sign off. How is your boy? Peace.